Hi, all. All right. So I've got something that I'd love to share with you. Um, my husband was off early this week. So while I'm in the office and I'm, doing my work, he's shouting this article to me. And I immediately knew I had something to say about this. So I printed it out because I feel so strongly about the whole thing. Um, it's a CNN article. I can also link it in the information below. Um, it says Arizona breaks ground on tiny homes for teachers amid worsening educator shortage. I'm going to give you a second. Let that sink in. All right. We're going to go through the article and I'm going to share my tidbits of thoughts. Um, so it starts with desperate to find educators amid a nationwide shortage. An Arizona school district is breaking ground on an unusual recruitment tool, tiny homes for teachers. So, not only is the situation with teachers the way it is, but you think that the solution is a tiny home. You think that teachers deserve a tiny home. Granted, only like 4 or 5 years ago, my plan was to live in a tiny home and travel around and teach all over the place with my cats. I was going to be a cat lady. Everything changed when I met Ben. And I was totally fine with that. Like, that was going to be my plan. It was going to be great. But, like, you're trying to attract teachers by offering them 400 square feet where their fart will sit for an hour in 400 square feet. And they just get to live with that. Not only that, but so it's 10 studio units, each 400 square feet on a vacant lot behind an elementary school. So you want them to really just blend their personal with their professional life and just live in the backyard of the school. When did this sound like a good idea? Because that's insulting. You might as well just build a new wing, add a kitchen, a group bathroom, and then just individual like dorm rooms like in college for the teachers. Why don't you just do that to solve your teacher shortage issue? So, teachers will pay $550 per month, which is well below the market rate for rent. Really nice of you. Thanks for considering the teachers. Not to mention, you're paying over $100 for 100 square feet a month. It's designed to be transitional housing, so this isn't even a permanent housing solution that they're spending all this time, all this money, all these resources on. It's supposed to be transitional as a way to lure educators to their schools over other districts. Can you think of an obvious solution rather than spending this money? What comes to you first? Could it be pay teachers more? What? Anyways, so they're hoping that this district is hoping that the 10 units will help attract and retain teachers we normally wouldn't get. So this transitional housing that isn't meant to be something permanent for the teachers, but is supposed to offer a rent reduced option for teachers looking to save money, to make money, to have money, to buy food and groceries and whatnot. Housing affordability isn't solved by making tiny houses and making rent kind of cheap for teachers. If you could pay the teachers a wage that has been adjusted for house affordability and for inflation and for these things that they're saying is hindering teachers coming to the area, then that would solve the problem. That would attract teachers. This is silly. It's foolish. It is straight foolish. But, and I get to say this is foolish because I did exactly this my first year teaching. I got hired from New York in North Carolina. I didn't know anything. My district had said, hey, we just built these teacher apartments. We'd love for you to move in there. It's only teachers that live there. There's a courtesy officer. Rent is lower than most places. I didn't know that because I was coming from out of state, so I was just trusting them. And so I was like, sign me up. I have trouble making friends sometimes, so put me around a bunch of other teachers and we can talk all the time. Because at least they'll get it, right? So I moved into something like this in North Carolina. And they were nice. I had a 2-bedroom apartment. I had to pay more because I was living by myself because I didn't want a random roommate because that doesn't always go well. And I'm trying to be, the 22-year-old adult that everyone said I was and the world said I was, I guess, as first-year teacher. So my cat and I booked it on down in North Carolina. We moved into these teacher apartments that were created by my district for teachers. And they mentioned this in the article. Your landlord being your boss is a severe conflict of interest. Like, wildly so. And I will share my experience. So there were 3 apartment buildings, and then the parking lot was in the center. And we had a courtesy officer, and he was great. He was wonderful. He was super nice. He checked in on people. My problem the year that I had moved there, and I moved out as quickly as I could after this year for this reason. I had ended up getting into a relationship with another teacher in the apartments, and it quickly turned hostile. It was an abusive relationship. He had never hit me. It was other things. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of isolation. There was a lot of manipulation and scare tactics and stalking. There was stalking, and it wasn't hard because he was right there. So what do you do in this situation? I was trying to get out of my lease so that I could go somewhere safe and get out of the experience altogether. Because what ended up happening because of the closeness was I just kept getting back into it because I figured if I knew where he was and what he was doing, and if he was at least in a good mood, that's better than him banging down my door at 3 a.m, trying to get to me on a school day when I'm supposed to go and teach kids in this district the next day. So the problem became, how do I talk to my landlord, who is my boss, and this person's boss? And because I was 22, if this were a situation I was in now, I would not care of the impact on him. But because I was 22 and I was working through my own trauma and struggles and things like that, I didn't want him to lose a job over something like this. I didn't even want anyone to know, let alone my boss. So as I tried to tiptoe around what's happening, I was in a bad relationship and he knows where I live and I just need to get out. Well, my landlord, said, no, we're not letting you out of it. This isn't an issue. You have a courtesy officer. You should be fine. And even the courtesy officer kind of knew what was going on, because I would be watched when I got home. And I talked to him one day, and my ex-partner, the abusive relationship person, he had a friend who would watch me as well, and she would report back to him, which super fun. Like, get out of these relationships. If you're feeling like this is anything similar, get out. Please get out. Get whatever you need to get out, because it's so unhealthy and you deserve so much better. Anybody. But the people, they watched me, and they would text the officer because it was a man and there was jealousy involved. And he would be in touch and be like, why are they asking about this? And so he knew that something unhealthy was going on, and he couldn't do anything more because nothing actively happened. I hadn't actively been hurt. Because, I don't know. So anyways, I know the struggles that come with your boss being your landlord. And as soon as I could get out of that environment, I did. And I would not recommend it to anybody, because what if there is something wrong with these apartments, these tiny houses, whatever they are, and you just keep asking just to have things fixed? Will you be labeled as a problem teacher? Will that impact how they see you as in your profession when they're the ones who are also your landlord? It's very sticky situation, and I would not recommend anybody getting involved in this way. This is not how you create an environment that is safe for teachers, that is comfortable for teachers, that is healthy for teachers to work in and live in and stay in. So anyways, that's my little ditty on my experience in this kind of situation. So getting back to the article, there is a high school English teacher who is mentioned saying that he is not able to afford housing for himself. He said that he's applied to jobs, but he's had to turn them down after researching the areas and not knowing that he can't afford to live there. Saying that he wants to keep teaching, but if the situation doesn't change, he'll have to move out of education. And they're saying that these tiny houses are great for you. This is the solution. It's not. It's not. Because the solution is easy. It's a hat over your face, and it's pay teachers more, and you just keep throwing the hat off. You just keep throwing it off. And I don't mean you personally, but like the districts, the system, it's so frustrating, because this is just blatant disrespect, right? Because we talk about how much money this district got. It's part of a $3 million pilot program in North Central Arizona using funds from the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund and the American Rescue Plan Act. So each district could receive up to $500,000 in matching funds to support teacher housing projects as part of the program in North Central Arizona. So they're getting all of this money, and they decide to build tiny houses, 10 of them. 10. So this only solves a problem for 10 teachers. It doesn't solve a problem for anybody else. Once those fill up, you still have a whole bunch of teachers who are struggling with the same problem that this man is dealing with. So how do you choose the 10? And how do you know that you're not solving the problem? You have to know you're not solving the problem. Especially because across Arizona, it said there's about 2,800 teacher positions that remained unfilled as of January, which is 25% of the vacancies from the start of the school year. And I had done a little bit of research. It is estimated that about 36,000 vacant full-time teaching positions in the United States are open as of fall 2022. And it could be as high as 52,000 because some states did not report. That's a wild number. These are our children, our students, our learners that don't have access to an educator. The states with above 3,000 vacancies: Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Wisconsin. Ones with about 2,000 or lower. Well, 1,000 to 2,000. Or in the 2,000s. Yeah, somewhere in there. Arizona, New Mexico, Kansas, Illinois, West Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina. So, I mean, it's not looking good, but we're also offering up dumb solutions. Like, it's a dumb solution. It's just, and they say it too. Like, skeptics are not okay with this. Skeptics are saying that your landlord should not be your boss. And yes, shouldn't be. Not at all. But anyways, they're talking about like housing prices, the median home price being over $600,000, which prices teachers completely out of the market. So make their pay competitive so they can afford to live here. They are trained professionals. They get, they go to get their bachelor's degree, 4 years, and then they go back. A lot of them, many of them, most of the teachers I know have gone back at least once, sometimes more than once, to get their master's degree. Not to mention there are definitely PhD teachers out there. So I just, and it said there's a concern, public education advocates that are skeptical of these plans, saying that it's a Band-Aid on a broken system, missing the root of the problems driving teachers away. Absolutely true. And I think I've shared a little bit about that. Treating a symptom and not the illness. Like, that's absolutely true. What could be done with this money? Where could they put this money that's a better use? And I won't just say pay teachers, even though I absolutely feel that if you want teachers to stay, you need to make it affordable for them to live in the area that you want them in. Give them a life there. Give them an opportunity to thrive in your community. And it'll be so valuable. You won't lose those teachers. They're the ones that will stay. But anyways, pay for counselors in every school. Maybe more than one if you can do it. Pay to have nurses full time. In 2 of my schools, the one school that had a full-time nurse was just because our elementary school was so big that we just had one allocated to us because there were too many kids. But and the other 2 schools I worked in, it's a traveling nurse that has like 2 or 3 other schools that they have to go to. Pay for the nurses to be full-time. Pay for paras, support staff, teacher aides, whatever, however you can get other adults in the classroom to help out, to take over a small group, to help monitor with some of the behaviors. Even if it's like some kids who need behavior support get like a checklist or have to fill out like this rubric after each subject. I mean, if we have paras, support staff, teachers, aides, that becomes an easier task because they'll have been there. They can help fill that out and take one thing off of the teacher's list. Now, I wouldn't say that would have to be the one thing that support staff would have to take over. That could be something that I, as the teacher, want to do. But having more access to more adults working for the kids, great. And just hiring more teachers, right? Class sizes are wild. I had 26 kids in my class by the time I left. I had one that would consistently destroy the room and create chaos. I had another that was very attention-seeking. Actually, 3 others. I had 3 others, but all in very different ways with very different needs and styles and ways to go about addressing those attention-seeking behaviors because one style does not work for each kid. I had a good chunk of students who were below reading level, and most of my kids who are struggling in math with grade level content. So all of these things could be helped with more people in the classroom or with a smaller class size. Ensuring that teachers are not paying for their own materials. Having resources and opportunities to deal with mental health issues that are coming up in elementary schools and middle schools and high schools. More support personnel to help with the behaviors that we're seeing, because it's growing. And that's its own thing. But this is where the money should go. This is absolutely where the money should go, more so than anything else. So I'm going to stop now, because I could continue and just repeat the same things over and over again, but I'm not going to do that today. Anyways, pay teachers, get more people working with kids. We can do this. Let's not come up with silly, foolish ideas like having districts be our bosses and our landlords, creating 400 square foot housing, because that's insulting. That's not respect. Right? Teachers deserve more than 400 square feet. Let's be honest. All right. Have a great day.